Thank you so much to Alexis. Welcome, welcome. We have our guest expert today. It is Alexis Lenihan, and I'm excited to have her come and join us today. And I'll be asking her questions. She's going to be telling us about what she does, and it's such an exciting time for all our, all entrepreneurs, because now we're getting more engaged, we're meeting with more people than we would have never imagined because of this whole digital space, and it just made it much easier for us. So I want to welcome Alexis. And Alexis, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself, and we're going to kick off this interview.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So, as introduced, my name is Alexis Lenihan, and I'm a certified high performance coach. I'm the COO of Goal Set Coach, along with my partner, Marine Siddiqui, who's the CEO. And we're both certified high performance coaches, and, we work with female entrepreneurs, female leaders who are really wanting to make an impact in the world. And we really help them to kind of up-level their mindset, up-level their productivity, and so that they can really get everything that they want to accomplished without killing themselves or their relationships or their health along the way.
You know what? We definitely, as women, we kill ourselves, right? We try to do it all. There are times that we don't set limits, we don't set boundaries, and we try to be everything to everybody, and we end up not taking care of ourselves. We end up getting burned out and overwhelmed. So I'm so glad to know that you guys are focusing on women, and you guys are helping women accomplish that, because without having that right mindset, we are always going to go back to that overwhelm, because we just don't know how to set limits and how to prioritize. So when it comes to productivity, what are your tips? I'm sure I'm not the only one. There are a lot of women that need more hours in our days.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more to do than the time that we have.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a question when we start talking with women in our groups, like they're always, how do I get more done in less time? Or how do I find more hours of the day? And unfortunately, I don't have just like a magic one to give you guys more hours. But what we find is we do create the time, because when you kind of take a step back and you look at everything that you're wanting to accomplish, oftentimes we put so much on our plates that 5 of us couldn't possibly accomplish it in the time that we've given ourselves. Yes. So when we step back, it's more about doing the right things than doing all of the things. And so getting some real clarity around what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's for the day, whether it's for the week or the quarter or your year, right? We start with kind of the end in mind, and then you reverse engineer. What are the big moving pieces? We call them those big needle moving activities that are going to get you closer to achieving that goal. So this could be in your business. This could be in your relationship. This could be in your relationships and in your health. So always looking for, we can build to-do lists all day long. And here's the thing, we'll never get to the bottom of them, because we'll just keep adding more on, right? As things come up. Yeah,
exactly.
It's never ending. So how do we focus on what are those needle moving activities, or those things that are really going to kind of push us, not just take little steps, but bigger steps towards those bigger goals that we're trying to achieve. And so, one thing is, that I guess my first tip would be is to really get into the habit of planning your day and planning your week. And now this sounds counterintuitive to not do the things and just sit and plan about the things, but it allows you to look at your schedule as a whole and look at your life as a whole. Right? We're working with a lot of female leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, and they have big missions and big goals, and they want to create big impact. And what happens is so many times we accomplish that, but at the cost or at the expense of our relationships with our partners or our kids or our girlfriends or our own health. And so when we're talking about planning, we're looking at your day and your week from a really holistic level and plotting in the important things that have to get done that week in the different areas of life. Does that make sense? So when you're looking at your calendar, you're like, okay, where is my relationship with my partner? Where is that fitting throughout the week? Where is the time, if you've got kids, where is that time? Where's a family night, or the time spent with my kids that I'm carving out that I'm going to be 100% present for when that is. And then throughout your work day, if you don't have kids at home, you are scheduling out your day to say, okay, what are the big tasks I need to get accomplished today, and when am I going to do them? So your planning session in the morning might look like, okay, I've got a couple appointments throughout the day from 9 until 10. It's not just administrative time. Maybe you have specific emails that you have to respond to, or maybe you have a proposal you have been putting off that you need to put together. So in that, what we call block time, in that time frame, you're writing the specific activity that's going to take place. This helps us to identify, okay, what are the things that I've accomplished today or this week? Because one of my second tip, I guess, for productivity is really celebrating those wins, big or small, recognizing the progress that we're making, because it's easy to get swallowed up in all of the details and just, head down that hustle mentality, that hustle culture. We just have to keep going. So right. When we're organized, when we're planning our day, we're taking that maybe 10 to 20 minutes in the morning to look at our day, figure out what it is we're going to accomplish, not just leave it up to chance and hope that we get everything we want to get done. Right. We're actually planning it out. And in that, we're not neglecting those other major areas of our life. So movement, exercise, whatever it is for you, wherever you are in your health journey. Maybe you have a Zumba workout scheduled. Maybe it's just a walk around the block at lunchtime. That's on your calendar as well, right? I mentioned, time with your family. That's on your calendar as well. So when we start using this method of block time and morning or daily planning, all of a sudden we can start to see, what are those bigger pieces? What's going to get me closer to the goal? When are they happening? And then I can celebrate them and recognize that I'm moving forward and I'm moving closer to my goals.
To your goal, so yes.
It's like a cycle, right? Now you've got the momentum. Okay, I'm seeing some progress. So now I've got a bit excitement, a momentum building to keep going tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Mm-hmm. So, for sure, those would be my top 2 tips, is that daily planning. So take one step back to take 2 steps forward. And then recognizing all the progress that you are making.
Yeah. So recognizing your wins or the progress that you made, like you said, it's more encouraging to move forward and to do more. But I'm glad you mentioned that it's not that other people have more time in the day. It's kind of how they manage it and prioritizing those tasks that move the needle. Mm-hmm. That's what I want everybody to remember. Remember those high priority tasks that will move the needle. Work on those first, or make sure you plan those first. That's Absolutely. What you're saying, right?
Absolutely. And because, we get caught in the minutia, we get caught in all those little things that we think we have to do. So my third tip is to figure out what it is that you have to do, what it is you can release control of doing, right?
Delegate.
Absolutely. And sometimes as women, I think we have this feeling of, well, if we want it done right, we have to do it ourselves, or we just put that added pressure on ourselves that we have to also take care of every aspect of the home while we're also trying to build a business, or running a business, all of those things. But when we can kind of look at what are the things that we personally don't have to do, right? And you start to get back some of that time. And I'm not saying fill up your calendar with more work things, because self-care is really important for productivity.
Yes, I fail big time on that department, on that self-care department. And partly because, in another point that you made, for me, it's like it's going to take me longer to explain it to somebody or to train them. And instead, I'd rather do it. Mm-hmm. And that is what keeps a bunch of tasks on my plate, because I have not released them. It's better to take that time, whatever time that it takes, to either train somebody or do a video of how it's done, so you can pass it off. So that's where I struggled a lot with my to-do list, not going down, except growing, right?
Yes.
So that was a big struggle for me at the beginning, and I'm still working on it. And that's going to be where my next question is going to come for you, Alexis. how do you create that habit? Now
Mhm.
I learned, I made a habit of putting things on my calendar. I have time blocking. But and then to help other people to learn how to put everything on the calendar and not only put it on the calendar, but practice it.
Honor it.
Do it.
Yeah.
No point in putting it on the calendar if you are not staying within that time constraint that you're supposed to be doing that task. And if
Yes.
you don't follow through, right? How do
Absolutely.
you get into a habit?
Yeah, you have to definitely honor your calendar. There's no point in doing all the prep and then not following through. Habit stacking is one thing that I really love. And this is where you take a new habit that you want to adopt and you put it, just before or just following an already, a habit that's already in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example. If you want to start your morning planning routine, finding something that you already do in the morning that's already a routine for you, where can you fit that planning so that the already established habit acts as a trigger and it will then elicit the next habit. So for me, I already get up and I have my morning coffee, right? I try and get up before my kids so that I could have, 20 minutes of quiet before my household erupts.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I grab my agenda, my daily agenda, and I sit down, and for the 15 or 20 minutes before everybody works, I was already having my coffee and typically doing a crossword puzzle. So I just replaced the crossword puzzle with my planner, and I spent the 15 minutes planning the day. Right. So then now sometimes I'll even grab my planner, forget to grab the coffee because now the planning is the habit.
It became a habit. Yeah.
Right. So something that you're already doing, or maybe a time of day that's already a natural habit for you, that's what we call habit stacking. You stack a new habit on the back of an old habit.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And it's really effective because you already have that initial habit in place for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is you're going to laugh, it's so simple, but using your phone for a timer. Like I talk to my clients all the time about, take a break at the top of every hour. I don't care if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, close your eyes, get away from the screen. And they're like, well, but Alexis, all of a sudden I blink and 3 hours have gone by. I'm like, well, what can you do to catch yourself? Yeah, because I get that. I am that person that could go 4 or 5 hours and not even think. Mm-hmm. So I have about 1 million alarms set in my phone for different things, and they go off. And I make our phones are usually with us at all times, at least within earshot. And so sometimes those habits I'll have where I sit down, I set a 50-minute timer. When that timer goes off, no matter what I'm doing, I'll just finish the sentence or finish whatever that last thing I'm doing. I will back away from my desk. I will close my eyes. I will take a deep breath. I'll grab some water, refill my bottle, and come back. And it's only 2 or 3 minutes, max 5 minutes, but it gives me that mental refresh, that visual refresh, because everything is virtual now. At least for me, where I am, we're in our 3rd lockdown of this pandemic, and so if you can't work from home, those are the only people that are allowed to go in. So right now we're all working from home if it's possible. And so I'm on Zoom calls like this all day long. I need to have that break for myself. But if I don't put the reminder in my phone, I end up working straight through, just like my clients, and I yell at them. So my alarms are set in my phone, and it goes off, and then, not just hitting the snooze button or turning it off and continuing on. That comes to your own self-discipline and understanding, why is it important, right? Why is it important? So if I stick with this example of me taking the, top of the hour breaks, if I don't do that, I'm not the mom that I want to be at 5 o'clock. If I don't take those breaks, I get punchy by the end of the day. I'm tired, I'm cranky. And then that's when I go and spend time with my kids and my husband. And so I've learned that when I don't take those little breaks throughout the day, I'm not showing up as the mom and the wife that I want to be. And that's really important to me. So that's
such a good point.
Yeah, that's my why, or my motivation for honoring that alarm and taking the minute, so habit stacking just to get used to it, but then come up with your own why. Why is it important for you to take the walk at lunch, to get your workout in, to take the break, whatever habit you're trying to implement? why is it important? Without the why, we're going to ignore it, and it's not going to become a habit or a ritual that we adopt into our lives.
Right. That's so important, Alexis. I'm glad you said that because a lot of people are like, well, I'm so focused on what I'm doing and I don't want to be interrupted. It's going to take me time to get back to that. What would you say to that?
I would say, what is the quality of work that you're producing in hour 2, 3, 4, and 5? Right? It is shown, study over study shows that as we work on our ability to concentrate fully, our ability to be attentive to details, our creativity, all of those things diminish over time.
Yes,
so
that is so true.
A 5-minute break. I'm not saying take an hour and then, go binge a Netflix series or anything like that and come back. It's a few minutes, right? It's a few minutes to recharge. It's taking your lunch break, taking that 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it is for you, understanding that that's that renewal activity that's necessary for you to come back and be your best or to perform at your best.
So you'll have a renewed energy when you come
Absolutely.
back. So you can even be more productive rather than losing time. That's important. I like that.
So it's kind of that quality over quantity debate.
Exactly.
Right?
And not only for the work that you're doing, at the end of the day, you're not as tired and you can be a better person for your family, the people who are going to be spending the rest of the day with you. So I'm definitely going to practice that. I have not been good at that. I sometimes continue to work for 10 hours at a time, maybe a few, breaks here and there. So I will definitely try to implement that into my days. Even if it is not, on top of every hour, I'll do it like at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. So, and I hope everyone who is listening today is taking notes because, we want to accomplish so much, but if you were not using our time effectively, and also in a way that it's going to help us even re-energize so we're more productive. We're being, what we're doing is counterintuitive then. We're being too tired, not thinking right and then spending more time. It will take more time probably.
Absolutely. And multitasking is another big topic of conversation in productivity talk because we know now multitasking is not the way to go. It's the same.
No, it isn't.
As you divide your attention, right, then you can't focus. It's like if you've got two things, like it's 50-50, your attention being split. And so, but as women, I feel like it's almost the expectation for us to multitask, to do all these different things at one time.
Right.
But there are times when, you can go for a walk and listen to a podcast. Okay.
Exactly.
But when there are two things that require, 80 to 90% of our attention to do well, we really have to say, okay, I could do this one task and it maybe take me 45 minutes. But if I'm doing 2 or 3 things, that same task is going to take me 3 hours because I'm splitting my attention between all these different things, all these different tasks.
Yeah, exactly. I used to think that multitasking was a thing and I tried it. But what I ended up learning is that I did not do either one justice because my attention was so split. And here's the most embarrassing part. You could be in meetings and you're trying to multitask and your attention goes off a little bit from the meeting and your name gets called. You're like, oh, what was the question again? So it is embarrassing. And I did it and a few people did it when we were in Clubhouse. You can't multitask and be there 100%. Like we said earlier, there are things that you can multitask with. You can be cooking and listening to something. You can be cooking or walking and talk to somebody. But if something needs your brain capacity, you just cannot multitask. It will take you much longer and your brain gets more tired. That's one thing I learned.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. You get that fatigue and you're just like, I have sat at my desk all day. How am I so tired? But it's like that mental fatigue and then our brains keep going when we're at night. Oh, I should have said this in the meeting. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, because we're not giving the focus to allow all that creativity to happen naturally during the time that we've allotted for that task. So then the ideas keep popping up randomly. And often, I don't know about you, I know sometimes this happens to me when I don't dedicate all my time, is that as soon as I lay down and I'm trying to go to bed, it's like
Oh my
all
God.
these other ideas start flying into my brain because I'm like, oh, I wasn't thinking,
Forgot
I wasn't
this.
100% in it during.
Yeah. It happens to me a lot, and most of my lack of sleep comes from that because in the middle of the night, I would wake up and then all of the sudden, flood of, either ideas or things that I forgot to do or I should have said or I should have done, and
Mhm,
then my brain would not stop. I'm like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I forgot that. After that, I can't sleep. So that
mhm,
contributed a lot to lack of sleep and being more tired. So now I started to write down what I have forgotten to do.
mhm.
That way my brain does not have to think about it.
Yes.
And I also narrowed down what I need to focus on. That's one thing I did. My to-do list continued to grow, and every day I would feel tired and not feel accomplished because that to-do list was not serving me at all. So eventually, we all coaches have coaches too, right?
Yep.
So talking to my coach, she was like, Sarah, just ignore everything and focus on these two items.
Yes.
And that took the weight off of me.
Mhm.
It really took the weight off of me. Now I focus on those two and I'm more productive. I'm doing them better. It's mainly like just focusing on my clients and just DMing,
Yeah.
connections. And it's working much better. And everything else, I pushed it aside. Either it doesn't need to be done now or I delegate. And I
Yeah.
think that's the best feeling, I'm telling you.
It is. And then you're more in alignment with what's really important for you and what you want to be spending your time on. I mean, we spend so much time at work, whether it's an 8 hour, 9 hour, 10 hour day for some, you want to be enjoying the time that you're doing. Otherwise, what kind of life is that? And when we are doing 1,000 things every day, all day, never having a chance to sort of catch our breath and focus our attention on the things that we want to focus on, right? You can easily see just in that sentence alone how easily it is to lose steam, lose momentum, be like, why am I doing this? Because let's face it, the entrepreneurial journey is a tough one.
It
It's one
is.
filled
It
with
is.
ups and downs. So
It is.
you need to be really enjoying what you're doing to sort of stay the course for the long term.
Right.
And that's what our coaching really is all about in terms of high performance. It's not about these quick fixes or these get rich quick kind of schemes or hacks, things like that. This is really about getting that, creating that lifestyle and, hitting those goals and that success for the long term. It's not just about, okay, how do I just crush this one project? And then, you are out for a month then because you didn't take care of your health. And now you've gone down with a terrible, bug or something. So it's one of those things where we're really always looking towards the future and we're pacing ourselves so that we don't burn out before we get there.
Yeah, and if you're out, imagine how many clients you would be losing, and then
Mhm.
how much time is it going to take you to get back to where you were?
Yeah,
Is it worth it?
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely, learn to do the time management and learn to focus on what is important and take care of yourself. I think we need to continue to be advocates, for each other because we honestly tend to forget, what is
Mhm.
important, to us and, making self-care important because at the end of the day, if we want to take care of our family, we need to be in the best shape, right?
Absolutely.
So we got to make, self-care part of our business, part of the everyday thing that we do. And like you said, put it on the calendar. It is
Mhm.
just as important as the business that we're trying to build.
Yeah, and if you're a business owner, start building that into your business culture. That element of self-care, the element of, really sticking to your values, what's important to you. No one's going to say that their health isn't important, but why do we not see it showing up as a priority? So if you're a business owner, for yourself as well as for your team, make self-care a priority in your business. I mean, I have a few friends that are business owners, and our business coach does this where all of us, like the whole company will shut down on a Monday because it's a self-care day, you
Mm,
know? And the first time, you hear it, you're like, wow,
what?
should, it seems counterintuitive or counterproductive in terms of business because you're like, it's a day we're not making money. But
Money, yeah.
then when you see, but they're going to show up 10 times better for their clients tomorrow because they were able to have that day for themselves. And nobody like questions. The business doesn't fall apart in one day or one Friday afternoon off, or, you know, you set that into the structure of your business.
Your business, yeah.
And when
if you're project oriented or task oriented, you don't have to worry about the hours, right? And they come back rejuvenated and they are more productive. You're going to have more work done than you would have, in the 5 days.
Yes.
So that is a good point. That's a good point.
You're encouraging your team to take care of themselves. In that conversation, it often comes up for yourself and you're like, ooh, am I practicing what I preach? And it kind of forces you to take a step back and say, okay, like I just had the conversation today with one of my team members and one of our interns, and she's still in school. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? When are your exams? Like, you know, we don't want this work to interfere with that work. And as I was saying it, I was thinking about all the different commitments I have on the go. And it was one of those sort of aha moments where, as I'm telling her, okay, if you need this day off, let me know the schedule, let's work around it. I'm like, maybe this is a conversation I need to have as well with my other team members for myself. So it's like, it's just part of that culture, and you're always saying it, you're always talking about it. You know, you want to make sure that you are walking the walk.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, talking about it in advance, you know, you are well prepared, so your client work does not suffer. The things that you're planning don't suffer, but bringing everybody in the team on the same, eye level is definitely important, and what is important to your life, and if you make it their life as important, and I think they will be more loyal to you because you do care about their life, you do care about what is happening in their life, and that is really a good point, Alexis. This has been a great conversation and got a lot of good lessons, even, a lot of nuggets that I need to be implementing as well, because we definitely fall back into those habits of work. I got to get this done. So it's been a great conversation.
Yes. No, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being available and to come, and do this with me. Tell the audience, where can they find you?
Absolutely. We are everywhere. Goal Set Coach. We are on Instagram at Goal Set Coach, Facebook, Twitter, we're LinkedIn, we're absolutely everywhere. So simply goal, GOAL, setcoach.com is our website. And we keep that up to date with everything that's going on, that we're up to. And you can connect on any social media platform.
That is awesome. And we will go ahead and put the URL or the Instagram handle into the video caption. So anybody who wants to connect with you guys will definitely do that. This has been great conversation, Alexis. I was so happy to have you.